The murder of Angela Samota is a haunting case that remained unsolved for over 2 decades. Angela Samota, a vibrant and intelligent student at Southern Methodist University SMU in Dallas, Texas, was brutally raped and murdered in her apartment in 1984. Her tragic death sent shockwaves through the community and left her friends and family devastated. Despite initial efforts by law enforcement, the case went cold, leaving many questions unanswered for years. The breakthrough in Angela's case came in the 2000s, thanks to advancements in DNA technology and the persistence of her former roommate, Sheila Vysotsky. This video delves into the life of Angela Samota, the events leading up to her murder, the investigation, and the eventual capture and conviction of her killer, Donald Bess. But first, subscribe to our channel for more content, and don't forget to share it with your friends and family. Angela Marie Samota was born on September 19, 1964, in Alameda, California. She grew up in a loving, fairly wealthy, and was known for her bright smile and friendly demeanor. She was raised in Amarillo, Texas, where they enjoyed a very comfortable lifestyle. Angela was a gifted student, excelling in academics and displaying a keen interest in science and technology. After graduating high school, Angie set her sights on college. In 1982, Angela enrolled at Southern Methodist University in Dallas, Texas, where she pursued a degree in computer science and electrical engineering. She was one of the few women in her field, demonstrating her determination and ambition. Angela was also an active member of the Zeta Tau Alpha sorority, where she formed close friendships and became a beloved figure on campus. During her first year at university, Angie met her best friend, Sheila Vysotsky. In 1982, at the start of their freshman year, they were paired as roommates in their dormitory. The two quickly formed a strong bond, and their friendship flourished. After her freshman year, Angie's parents purchased an off-campus condo for her. Thrilled by her newfound independence, Angie meticulously maintained her new home. Before long, she invited Sheila to move in with her. Together, they took pride in being responsible and independent students. Angela's time at SMU was marked by her dedication to her studies and her involvement in various social activities. She was known for her vivacious personality and her ability to light up any room she entered. Her friends described her as a triple threat: intelligent, charming, and beautiful. Angie had an active social life and was known for her gregarious and outgoing personality. Shortly after moving into her condo, she met Ben McCall, a construction crew manager, and the two began dating. Their relationship faced challenges due to their busy and often conflicting schedules. Ben worked early mornings and long hours, while Angie was dedicated to her studies and maintained a vibrant social life. Despite these time constraints and frequent separations, they were committed to making the relationship work and spent as much time together as possible. At a networking event at her college, Angie met Russell Buchanan and Anita Kadala. Although they were not particularly close, the three enjoyed each other's company and were often seen together in the same social circles. On October 12, 1984, Angela Samota spent the evening with her friends Anita Kadala and Russell Buchanan. They attended the State Fair of Texas and later visited the Rio Room Dance Club, where Angela was seen socializing and enjoying the night. The group stayed out until after midnight before Angela drove her friends home. After dropping off Russell and Anita, Angela stopped by Ben McCall's apartment to say goodnight. She then returned to her own apartment, where she made a fateful phone call to Ben at approximately 1:45 a.m. Angela told Ben that a man was in her apartment, asking to use the phone and the bathroom. She assured Ben that she would call him back, but she never did When Angie didn't call back within a few moments, Ben called her instead. No one answered the phone. Concerned for Angela's safety, Ben drove to her apartment when she failed to return his calls. Upon arrival, he found the door locked and no response from inside. Using his work-issued mobile phone, Ben called the police, who arrived at the scene shortly after a.m. and discovered Angela's lifeless body in her bedroom. The initial investigation into Angela's murder was thorough, but ultimately inconclusive. The crime scene showed no signs of forced entry, suggesting that Angela had willingly let her attacker into her apartment. Her body was found naked on the bed, and an autopsy revealed that she had been raped and stabbed multiple times, with one wound penetrating her entire body. When the discovery of Angie's body was made, Ben remained calm. He had a very collected demeanor, which investigators found highly suspicious. However, no immediate action was taken, though he gave his full statement as to the events of that night. Police interviewed Angela's boyfriend, Ben McCall, who was cooperative, but refused to take a polygraph test. He provided a DNA sample, which did not match the evidence found at the scene. When they interviewed Anita, she suggested that Angie's ex-boyfriend might have been involved. He had not taken the breakup well and had been calling and harassing Angie, trying to persuade her to reconcile. Upon locating the ex-boyfriend, investigators found him to be extremely cooperative. He willingly provided his fingerprints, as well as blood and saliva samples, for comparison with the evidence collected at Angie's crime scene. At that time, the only DNA evidence investigators could analyze was the blood type of Angie's murderer. They determined that neither Ben's nor the ex-boyfriend's blood type matched that of the perpetrator. Despite these efforts, the case went cold as no substantial evidence linked any suspects to the crime. Angela's murder remained unsolved for many years, leaving her family and friends without closure. Russell Buchanan's blood type matched that of Angie's murderer, raising suspicions among investigators. Russell, a 23-year-old architect at the time, told investigators that he and Angie were friendly, but not particularly close, having socialized at the same events. On the morning after his outing with Angie and Anita, Russell attended a wedding and then flew to Houston to visit family. He cooperated fully with the investigation, allowing police to search his apartment, where they found a collection of knives and sharp objects which belonged to his roommate who had recently returned from a safari in Africa. Despite his cooperation, Russell faced intense scrutiny and harassment from investigators who were convinced of his guilt. They subjected him to relentless questioning and even drew their guns on him when he arrived at the station for further interrogation. Russell agreed to take a polygraph test and continued to assert his innocence. Investigators developed tunnel vision, focusing solely on him as the prime suspect. Sheila Vysotsky, Angie's best friend, also cooperated with the investigation by wearing a wire during a group dinner with Russell, but he never said anything incriminating. Realizing the severity of the situation, Russell hired a lawyer to protect himself from being wrongfully accused. The only evidence against him was a blood type match, which was insufficient for an arrest or to press charges. Despite the ongoing pressure from investigators, Russell maintained his innocence and sought legal counsel to ensure he was not unjustly prosecuted. Despite these efforts, the case went cold as no substantial evidence linked any suspects to the crime. Angela's murder remained unsolved for many years, leaving her family and friends without closure. For over 2 decades, Angela Samota's murder case remained a cold case. The lack of new leads and evidence left investigators at a standstill, and Angela's family and friends were left without answers. The case haunted those who knew Angela, and the memory of her brutal murder lingered in the minds of the Dallas community. Sheila Vysotsky never abandoned her quest to find her best friend's killer. Despite the Angela Samota murder case being a low priority for investigators over the years, Sheila remained in contact with them, determined to see justice served. In 2004, a pivotal moment occurred when Sheila experienced a vision of Angie, which profoundly impacted her and reinforced her belief that the case needed to be revisited. Driven by this conviction, Sheila persistently contacted the Dallas Police Department, making 785 calls over 2 years, pleading for them to reopen the investigation into Angie's murder. Her relentless efforts eventually contributed to the case being re-examined and ultimately solved. In 2006, Detective Linda Crum was assigned to the cold case of Angela Samota. Upon reviewing the evidence, she realized there was a significant amount of DNA material that could be tested. In 2008, Crum requested the testing of this evidence, a process that was lengthy at the time. The results, received in 2009, identified the DNA as belonging to Donald Andrew Bess Jr.B., who was already serving a life sentence for unrelated crimes. This discovery led to Bess being charged with the rape and capital murder of Angela Samota, finally clearing Russell Buchanan's name. Donald Bess had a history of violent crimes, having been convicted in 1978 for aggravated assault and kidnapping and sentenced to 25 years in prison. However, he was paroled in 1984, just months before Angie's murder. In 1985, Bess was again convicted for aggravated rape, kidnapping, and sexual assault, resulting in a life sentence. Despite his incarceration, the DNA evidence from the Samota case conclusively linked him to the crime, leading to his trial for her murder. The trial of Donald Bess for the murder of Angela Samota began in 2010. The prosecution presented compelling evidence, including the DNA match, to prove Bess's guilt. Witnesses testified about Bess's violent history and the impact of Angela's murder on her friends and family. After a thorough examination of the evidence, the jury found Donald Bess guilty of the rape and murder of Angela Samota. He was sentenced to death, providing a sense of justice and closure for Angela's loved ones who had waited over 2 decades for answers. Donald Bess remained on death row until his death from natural causes in October 2022. At the age of 74, Bess died while awaiting execution, bringing an end to his life and the long journey for justice in Angela Samota's case. The murder of Angela Samota is a tragic story of a young woman's life cut short by a brutal act of violence. Despite the initial challenges in solving the case, advancements in DNA technology and the unwavering determination of her friends and family led to the eventual capture and conviction of her killer. Angela's story serves as a reminder of the importance of perseverance and the impact that one person's dedication can have in seeking justice. Her legacy lives on through the memories of those who knew and loved her, and her case continues to inspire others to fight for justice in the face of adversity.